good evening, and welcome to the Position on Sports Talk Show post. Live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Position on Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg, and I'm joined by my partners in crime. What's going on, J3? How you feeling this evening, partner?
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, fellas? How y'all doing? I'm doing great. Let's get it in.
We got Sense in the building. What's going on, Sense? How you feeling?
Feeling good, feeling great. What's good, fellas? Let's talk some sports.
And last but definitely not least, my man Ed. What's going on, brother Ed?
Man, just blessed to be here, all healthy and what have you. Seeing you guys looking all good and whatnot. Let's talk some sports.
Yay.
All right, let's get it. This evening, we will hit college football week 3 in review and preview week 4. We will also do the NFL week 2 review and preview week 3. Our final post of the evening. And of course, we always appreciate you for tuning in. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. So, fellas, I got to admit it. Saturday afternoon wasn't fun.
I bet.
Saturday afternoon wasn't fun, man. But we're going to get into it. Number 1, Alabama went down to the swamp for the first time in over a year where they had to play in a hostile environment, and it was a rough go. But my boys pulled it out with a late 2-point stand to stop a 2-point conversion and end up winning 31-29. So number 1, Alabama stays undefeated. But I got to give mad props to Florida because Florida clawed their way back in that game and made it a good game. So what y'all think?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think it speaks to a bigger point that anybody can get got. You got to keep your head on the swivel. Anybody can get got. So
I know you got some deep detailed notes on this, Ed. So
Well,
just give me the highlights.
Okay, we're going to start here, and it's rated PG.
Mm.
And that's not saying parental guidance. That's Pete Golden, the defensive coordinator for Alabama. I'm just tired of hearing the excuses. Year after year, going on 3 or 4 years now, the excuse has been they're young. Okay, we lost players to the NFL. That's been the excuse. Then it's been the excuse the defensive system is complicated. They just have to learn it. Then the excuse has been we've had too many injuries. Well, this was the year everything was supposed to go together, as you know, Big Reg. This was the year. And if you watch the first game, it appeared that way. But once you really get into the nuts and bolts of it, it's the same old situation where you have a defensive-minded coach and Nick Saban. He for the last decade plus, he's annually had at least the top ranked recruited class in the nation, if not one, the worst, I say 3, 4, something like that. And yet here we are. You mean to tell me that we never had these problems under the former defensive coordinators? And I'm just tired of hearing it. Now, our offensive line does not look good. But again, that is a legitimate reason because they lost, in a sense, 2 first-round picks. The center for Philadelphia was a second-round pick due to injury only. And the starting right tackle for the Raiders. But anyway, what I'm saying is it's that defense. That was the worst defensive performance I've ever seen Alabama play. And I'm not exaggerating it because it was so close. It was literally one of the worst embarrassing defensive performances that I've ever seen. Now, again, historically, Alabama has struggled against those type of quarterbacks. I mean, you can under Nick Saban, they've been got, so to speak, like you say, Sense. They got gotten. Didn't always lose, but it was always a challenge for them to come out with the victory. But I'm just tired of Pete Golden. Saban has to do something because that's not long term. That's not a vital plan. I'm proud of Alabama They had a in a sense, a freshman quarterback in the swamp. And it's hard to play in the swamp. Let's not, even though Florida was ranked 11, let's not forget when Florida is up and it appears that Dan Mullen has them back up, it's hard to play in the swamp. It's very difficult to play in the swamp. Yep. So I give them credit for winning the game, but the defensive coordinator, it's the same old now.
It seems to be the recurring theme in this season too. Bad defenses, like Alabama and Ohio State.
So how do they fix it?
What? I want, before we get to that, I want to give credit. Dan Mullen, you mentioned Dan Mullen. We got to give Dan Mullen some credit. Dan Mullen has given Nick Saban fits.
The Blues, yes.
When he was at Mississippi State with Dak, he gave them fits. And the last couple of years at Florida, it's been nip and tuck. So he can coach his behind off. Yeah. He knows what he's doing. But as far as the defenses go, traditional style defenses that most teams want to play no longer works when you're playing a spread offense with a quarterback that can move. If you got a quarterback that has to sit in the pocket, then you got a chance with the traditional, I'm going to rush him, we're going to get a little pressure. But if you got any quarterback that got any kind of wiggle, and you spread them out and put 3 and 4 wide receivers or put your backs out wide, there's nothing these college defenses can do against that. If you got somebody who can actually throw the ball a little bit and can run.
So in other words, what you're saying is a mobile quarterback is going to do damage on a traditional defense. That's what you're saying.
That's the kryptonite.
On any college defense now, it's done. That's why Saban relented and changed his offense, because Saban knew his defense couldn't stand up to these fast-paced offenses. What happens is, if you have a decent defense and your offense isn't good, they're on the field too much. And by the end of the game, they're tired. And that's when they get caught. And if you don't have a good defense, then they just running up and down the field. It's madness. There's one shown up defense right now that's playing in college football that I've seen so far, and that's Georgia.
Right.
But their offense stinks. So basically, I mean, let's look at the top teams. Alabama has a very good offense, and right now the defense is playing suspect. I agree with you, Ed. That was the worst I've seen a Nick Saban defense play since I've been following. That's been over a decade. The absolute worst. They were out of position. They were making dumb mistakes. You don't see that from Alabama. Let's go. I just mentioned Georgia. Offense stinks. Even though that boy JT Daniels threw 3 TDs, they're playing against South Carolina, and South Carolina's just building that program. Oklahoma.
No defense.
They don't play any defense, and they're struggling on offense. And if Oklahoma can't put up 40, 50 points, they got problems.
Good night, Irene.
Clemson. I'm shocked by Clemson. I don't know about y'all. I thought DJ was going to step in after having 2 games last year. We threw over for 400 yards when he stepped in. You know, I thought he would just step in, but maybe he was reading too much of the press clippings and wasn't getting to work, because there's no way that Clemson should only score 14 points against Georgia Tech.
No.
Yeah, but what's the offensive line doing? Is it that they're not holding up, or is it just the lack of the run game that's not allowing him to get receivers open to throw to?
Well, I've talked to some Clemson insiders, so to speak, and they feel that it is most definitely on the head of the offensive coordinator.
So it's play caller,
who's one of the highest paid offensive coordinators, and then also the new running backs coach, CJ Spiller. I'm sure everybody's heard of his name in Clemson. He's the running back coach, and apparently the lead dog, the running back who is supposed to be the heir apparent to ETN, is in the doghouse. So I don't, that's the Clemson speak, but something's wrong with that offense, because Clemson recruits. I mean, it's not like they didn't stop recruiting, and Georgia Tech didn't all of a sudden turn into Georgia.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Good point. Good point. Let's talk about the whiteout game, though. That was a fun game. I don't know if either one of those teams are very good, but I think both of them are going to be good, solid teams. Number 10, Penn State beats Auburn 28-20 up in Happy Valley. They had the full whiteouts. Everybody had the white pom-poms, 105,000 plus.
No mask.
No mask to be fair.
I mean, are we surprised anymore? Like, come on.
Nah, we're not surprised, but you wouldn't catch me there. No, sir.
Kids.
I have to admit, I'm secretly rooting for Penn State because I really like James Franklin.
Me too.
And I really want it. And I wasn't just rooting for him because I truly want to see Auburn lose. Because at the end of the day, I am an SEC fan, but I really want to see Franklin succeed, particularly after last year where I thought he was on life support as far as his tenure at Penn State. But it was a great game. But it's again, that's like an Alabama. That's, for all the problems we talk about Alabama having, Auburn's breaking in a new coach, but they have a third-year quarterback. Normally in the year 3 of a 3-year starting quarterback who was a highly ranked 4-star, I think maybe even a 5-star, but he was a legacy player, Bo Nix. I just expected a little more from Auburn, but I don't know if Auburn's that bad or if Penn State's that good. I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing about the Big Ten that I'm seeing. Between Wisconsin, Iowa, Maryland. Yes, I said Maryland. Maryland, Ohio State, even though Ohio State is not really Ohio State technically this year, they're still good. And hey, Michigan.
And Michigan State.
Michigan
State's undefeated.
I think the Big Ten is going to be a very good conference when you look at the totality of the conference. So I'm not surprised that Penn State won that game. But I will say this. I think there's going to be 2 1-loss teams in the playoffs this year. And I feel that one of those teams, not Ohio State, will be from the Big Ten.
So to piggyback off what you just said, Ed, I agree with you. When you think of Auburn's offense, you would have thought that Bo Nix would have stepped up. Yeah. But he hasn't. So now you have to wonder, is the play calling the reason? Or because you look at the way he throws the ball, sometimes he forces it. It's not like it's a easy throw. And so with that being said, you're wondering if he's actually reading the field or if he's just trying to make a play just so that he can make a play instead of moving the ball down the field like he should every 10 yards.
I think he's just trying to make trying to make a play.
And then with Penn State, if you look at their offense and their defense, they always got a strong defense, but their offense is always suspect. And it still is, in my opinion, it's still the same way today. They haven't really increased.
They do just enough to
the QB Clifford is getting better.
It's the QB.
I can see a difference from last year to this year. And if he can keep developing just a little bit with their defense, like you said, J3, I think they're going to be some hell to deal with in that Big Ten.
Oh, yeah. And college football is better anyway when Penn State is one of those elite programs.
Yeah, I feel you. And last but not least, before we give you our week 4 preview, Notre Dame keeps squeaking by and winning these games. And their transfer quarterback, Jake Cohen, I mean, he's doing enough, but they just barely beating teams. And they in it till clawing into the 4th quarter. And then they figure out a way to win. But that ain't going to work much longer.
They're going to have some tests coming up.
It ain't going to work, but it just goes to tell you that they never give up and they play to the end. And that speaks volumes, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll find out about Notre Dame. We'll find out a couple things about Notre Dame and Cincinnati.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Cincinnati.
We'll know if Notre Dame is for real this weekend. And at the same time, we'll know if Cincinnati is for real and they're ready to step up to the big boys, the big leagues.
Cincinnati's next week.
Yes, next week.
Not this weekend, next week.
Oh, okay.
They got Wisconsin this weekend.
It
Mhm.
might be another Carolina.
They got to go to Wisconsin and play Wisconsin this weekend first, and then they follow that up with Cincinnati. So Notre Dame, we gonna know everything we need to know about Notre Dame over the next 2 weeks.
They
If
might
they
be
for real, if they win both of those games, then they legit college football playoff contenders. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could go 0-2.
I think they're gonna be 0-2.
I want to see is Cincinnati really?
Mm-hmm.
And they just more experience, been in the system. That's where Cincinnati is. And Cincinnati needs to do it this year because just like Scott Frost left and went to Nebraska,
Oh yeah, that coach gonna be
that coach right here. They talking about him possibly at USC and some other places.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, he came from Ohio State.
Uh-huh.
But if you ever watched, if you have an opportunity to watch Cincinnati, their running back actually started for Alabama 2 years ago.
Right.
He had a horrible first game, and then immediately after that game or 2 games afterwards went into the transfer portal. But Ford, his name is.
Okay.
But he actually started for Alabama for the opening game a couple years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's legit.
Cool.
Yeah. So this Saturday, what you can look forward to. You started off early. Noon. Number 12, Notre Dame, and number 18, Wisconsin on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we're going to find out. Number 7, Texas A&M visits 16, Arkansas, 3:30 CBS. That's going to be an interesting game.
Because, again, we'll find out if Arkansas is any good. We'll find out there.
I think Clemson, NC State's going to be a sneaky game. Last week, I gave y'all a possible upset, West Virginia over Virginia Tech, and West Virginia got them.
Mm-hmm.
This Clemson, NC State quietly, I think they're 3-0.
Nope. Okay. We'll see about Clemson.
So it's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State visits undefeated Baylor. So we're going to see about Iowa State in the Big 12. Michigan and ran for 500 yards 2 weeks in a row.
Wow.
But Greg Schiano is back where he belongs at Rutgers. Rutgers goes to visit Michigan. That's going to be a very interesting game. That's going to be. Yeah. And last but not least, West Virginia might get their second upset. And I'm picking them to beat Oklahoma this Saturday, 7:30. So you got some good stuff to look forward to this week.
If that game was in Morgantown, I might lean towards West Virginia. But every time I root for West Virginia on the road in a big game, they lose.
I just think last week against Virginia Tech gave them some confidence, and Oklahoma isn't playing with confidence.
Okay, we'll see.
So we will see. All right, let's move on to the NFL. And fellas, I don't know if it was you. I was blowing y'all up on our little group chat. The injuries were ridiculous Sunday. I mean, just ridiculous. I mean, it's so bad. I got to give them to you by position groups. Quarterbacks. Tua, Miami, bruised ribs. I doubt if he plays this week, but they say it's a pain tolerance thing, and they're going to wait and see. Your boy Andy Dalton. They say it's a knee bruise. I've never seen somebody get a knee bruise who never got hit.
And they still going to let him play next week, this weekend.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I think he's got a partial tear of a ligament that he ain't trying to tell anybody about because he know this is his last stand. You talking about injury prone?
Carson Wentz.
How can you sprain both your ankles?
We already knew that. We knew this.
He needs to just go ahead and sit down and let it go. Just let it go.
Carson.
Yeah. Just let it go. When they signed them.
You got your money. Just go on and just
And then the man with the worst luck in the world, Tyrod Taylor.
Dang.
He pulled a hamstring, scoring a touchdown.
He can't catch a break.
They put Tyrod on a 3-week IR, so he's gonna miss at least 3 games, which brings up a whole nother subject. They still not gonna activate
Deshaun.
So they're gonna play a rookie quarterback. So basically, they really waving a white flag, and they was playing some interesting football for a team I thought might go 0-17. And your boy Derek Carr, he's as tough as a $2 steak. He sprained his ankle, went back in the game. He said, I'm finishing this game. So, I mean.
Sorry, Ed.
Yeah.
Don't forget Baker Mayfield.
And Baker Mayfield, absolutely. He partially dislocated his shoulder, but it popped right back into place. Luckily, it was his non-throwing shoulder. He went back in the game. But,
Bake.
But your boy Carson Wentz wouldn't even attempt to go back in the game. So that's not a good look for when you go into a new team and you got a whole bunch of history behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And then he stood on the sidelines. That was the thing. Okay, if you hurt, dude, sit down, put your ankles in ice or something. Don't be standing on the sideline watching the game.
He ain't want to play no more.
No.
That's all that is. He ain't want to play no more. Read between the lines.
Then we go to the running backs. Dalvin Cook, another tough son of a gun. He sprained his ankle, left, came back, and put some work in. Ended up killing them. But the Vikings do what the Vikings do, so we'll get to them in a second. The Rams, running back and Rams.
Don't mix.
Yeah, that looked like a bad mixture this year. Your boy Darrell Henderson, bruised ribs. They don't know if he's going to be able to play. Trey Sermon, you talking about the worst luck in the world. Your first NFL pro regular season carry, and you get knocked out.
And my fantasy team goes down the drain.
First carry, you get knocked out.
Man. Get your weight up, son. Get that weight up, son.
And not only did the 49ers lose Sermon, Jermichael Hasty tore up his ankle. They don't know when he's going to be back. Elijah Mitchell hurt his shoulder, but he had to go back in to play because the other two dudes got knocked out the game. So
wow.
It's just ugly. It's just ugly. And your Steelers, last play of the game.
Oof.
I haven't heard an update, but Deontay Johnson, they say that might be a serious knee injury that he sustained on the very last play of the game on the sideline.
Well, I don't want anybody to be hurt, but maybe someone we can replace him with some cash.
Well, I don't want him to be hurt. That someone can throw because I heard Big Ben's a little banged up as well.
He is.
But Jarvis Landry, a receiver that doesn't get nowhere near the amount of respect he should. He's got a sprained MCL. They put him on a minimum 3-week IR. But the good news is they're expecting Mr. Showtime to be back. So we will see that. And for the Cowboys, Amari Cooper said he hurt his ribs in the game. He'll probably play, but
But they got a big one coming up on Monday against the Eagles.
They do. So they need all hands on deck. The Eagles lost the heart and soul of their defensive line. Brandon Ingram, torn Achilles, gone for the year.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah.
And then your Steelers, Ed, again. TJ Watt pulled a groin. And didn't the other linebacker who just came back, was injured last year, pull a groin too?
Yeah. We're gonna talk about the Steelers, right?
Yeah. I mean, somebody got to do something.
But as far as Watt, we knew it's Pittsburgh's fault that he got hurt because they should have signed him to the same contract that they did a month before, and he could have actually participated in real training camp. But that's something different.
Management.
Yeah.
Sounds like management.
So those are the major injuries. Oh, yeah, and Bradley Chubb for the Broncos. He tweaked his ankle, but he's been injured ever since he's been in the league. So, again. So let's get into some of these games. Last week, Thursday night.
Wow.
There's some good games.
NFC East battle. Washington Giants. And a win is a win. But if we want to be honest, the Giants were the better team Thursday night. They just gave the game away.
Except for the score. Yeah, you're right. Except for the score. You're absolutely correct. They outplayed them. But unfortunately, mistakes killed them from winning the game. I mean, holding penalty when Damon Jones ran for a touchdown, bring that back. Missed opportunity on the field goal.
Yeah. And then how you going to kick 5 field goals? I mean, you got to punch 1 or 2 of those into the paint and get touchdowns. When you kicking 5 field goals, that you asking to be beat.
I would actually say it's more good football team because again, Heineke, he led the drive. I mean, Hopkins, the Lord was smiling down on him for him to get, a second chance to kick that field goal had the Giants not committed that dumb penalty of offsides. But again, got to give credit to Heineke for making the plays that he made to get them to that point.
I'm wondering why Heineke. I'm wondering why they even signed Fitzpatrick.
Real quick, so Ed, I mean, since I want to definitely piggyback off what you just stated, because even though Heineke made that mistake with 4 minutes left in the game when he threw that interception, why I don't know they didn't keep running the ball when each running back was carrying for anywhere between 4 to 6 yards a carry. Why you want to throw the ball with 4 minutes left in the game? I don't understand. But he threw that interception, went back to the sideline, got his head right, went right back out there and drove the team down the field in order for them to even compete to win the game. So, I mean, that's mad props to him because, again, this is really his first start, and he stepped up. He stepped up and performed.
And that energy permeates throughout the team.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
they love him.
We'll definitely
they love him.
You.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no ifs, ands, but I'm with you, Ed. Based on the moxie that kid brings to the team and the way the team rallies behind him, they didn't need to spend $10 million
on Fitzpatrick. No,
on Fitzpatrick.
Well, we all know what that's all about. We all know what that's
J3,
about.
I got 2 questions. J3, this question is for you. Who's the offensive coordinator for the Washington football team? That's one of the questions. And the second question to everybody is, is something amiss in that front seven? Is something going on this year?
Yeah, it's like they're not showing the same intensity as they did last year. Like I'm surprised, especially Young.
I think they drank their own Kool-Aid and they thinking they hyper than they are. But little do they know they giving up down there 300 yards every game.
Daniel Jones should not have had the field day he had.
I'm trying to tell you, he was eating them up.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm sorry, J3. To answer your question, and I think Scott Turner's the offensive coordinator.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
I wasn't gonna mention his name, but yeah.
Inside the family, you know. But and I haven't heard Sweat's name mentioned in 2 games.
Nor Payne's.
Nope.
Yeah. So John Allen been doing a little work.
He been doing a little work.
A little
bit.
Getting pushed up the middle, but they've been sliding the line to Chase Young. And quite honestly, when they played the Chargers, they just let that rookie get Chase Young because that rookie got Chase Young in college, and they said, you got him. And Slater just took Chase Young. I mean, sometimes people just have your number no matter what it is. People just have your number. But
real quick, we also got to talk about that secondary because Jackson shouldn't have got burned the way he did.
Oh, my goodness. Our secondary is terrible.
Well, we already knew that was the weakness of the defense or possibly the team.
Yep.
No, but the front seven is so good, I thought, that they could cover up a lot of those deficiencies in the back end. But it just hasn't happened yet.
But I think it's scheme. I think it's scheme. The way they're playing, they're expecting pressure. And when they don't get pressure, that's leaving a lot of gaps in the back because they're expecting this pressure that's not coming. And that's just leaving the DBs exposed.
Yeah.
I think it's all scheme.
But I understand that, Reg. But again, you got safeties. The safeties shouldn't be where the linebackers are. They should be playing back, and they're not.
That's scheme. That's
Right,
exactly what I'm
right.
telling you.
Sterling Shepard got off. Like he had like 100-yard.
Nah, he ain't get that much because I
He
got him
didn't?
on my fantasy. Trust
Oh,
me.
well, almost. Sterling Shepard had some big plays. I'll
He
say.
ain't
did
get
have
that
some big
much, bro.
plays.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, show up now. Come on.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that defense is going to have to make some adjustments, and especially that front four is going to have to be more effective, because if the front four does become dominant, then they don't have a chance.
It's gonna be a long season.
Yeah.
If
They don't have a chance.
Yeah.
And quiet as is kept, Davis, the number 1 pick linebacker, if
Mhm.
y'all really look at the game, he's only playing in passing downs. So he's got to get up to speed, because they need him to be able to be in not necessarily passing downs to cover these tight ends and running backs, because the normal middle linebacker for Washington can't cover anybody. I think I might be able to outrun him. I mean, he can plug the hole, and he's smart, and he gets everybody lined up. But if you break it down the field, good luck. So, but it was a W's a W. Like I said, that was a good win, and maybe that can get them moving.
And first place in the East.
That's just too early to be talking about all that.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying
way too early.
we first place in the East, and I'll take that.
Let's move on to the game of the week. Baltimore Ravens open home against the Kansas City Chiefs. The big bad gorilla that's been on Lamar Jackson's back. The team that Lamar can't beat. Without his top 3 running backs. Without 2 of his top 3 receivers. And Lamar put on a show.
He made it happen.
I know, man, but look, I'm not
even with the interceptions.
I'm not going to criticize Lamar or the Ravens. They had a good victory because I didn't think they were going to beat Kansas City. So they did have a good victory, but I don't know if the question I put on to the panel is, can that style of play sustain Jackson for a long career?
Nope.
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
But to retort to that, I mean, have they found a way to stop Jackson in that style?
And that's the problem. So it's the gift and the curse.
Yep.
The gift is his style makes it easy for his teammates to get open, to bust long runs if you're a running back, to sit in empty zones if you're a tight end. So his style play benefits the team tremendously, but does it benefit Jackson long term? And I don't know if that's what we want, where we wanted to go with this game. But every time I look at him, I cringe because I know his earning potential, but I know it's going to be a short window. And they haven't signed him yet. And again, I keep telling everybody, do not be surprised if they franchise him again, and then cut bait.
Man, they ain't getting rid of him. Trust me.
Man.
As long as Harbaugh is there, he ain't going nowhere. Because he love him to death.
Yeah,
You know he got a winner.
Why he's the fastest player in the NFL? He did. But once those hits start accumulating, and you're not the fastest person no more, and defenses don't respect your speed no more.
I think they are trying to advance their offense. It just so happened the 2 receivers that they expected to help advance the offense are both hurt.
Right.
So until they get those receivers back where they can go 3 and 4 wide, because just imagine, like you said, there's zones all over the place because you got to bring safeties up and linebackers up. If not, Lamar gonna kill you. So that means there's gonna be big wide zones for receivers, and he's got to be able to develop a rhythm with those receivers. As long as they hurt, I mean, you figure off season, he missed time from COVID, and then the receivers got hurt when he came back. So,
but
it's
to his credit, I think. Go ahead, Big Rich.
Yeah, I say it's just a work in progress. I think the Ravens are smart enough to see that, and they use draft capital to try to address it. We're just gonna have to wait and see if they ever get healthy, if they can actually do it. Because I think they want to give Lamar his 5-year, $200+ million contract with 150 guaranteed and make him happy and make him the face and hope that if they do the right things, Lamar can still be their starting quarterback 10 years from now. But the way they use him now, I agree, Ed. If he's got to carry the team by rushing for 1,000 yards a year as a quarterback, then he may only have 3-4 more years.
But to Lamar's credit, I think he's trying to find a way to, kind of expand his repertoire, so to speak, and not box himself as, to where he limits the amount of seasons he plays. You can see it in the game, like, finding the tight end, finding, the receivers, like that one play to Hollywood. I mean, that was him like, yeah, I could run, but here's an open man. I can, figure out, just jump in. I see you in the flat. And, the rest was history. So I think he's trying to. He's not trying to be that. He's not trying to fall in that same trap as RG3.
Yeah, I think he's more Mike Vick than Cam Newton and RG3.
I agree.
And y'all remember, Mike Vick played for almost 15 years.
But Mike had to go away and sit down for a couple years and figure out, okay, maybe I need to learn how to really play the game.
I hear you.
And he did. He came back a completely different player.
Yeah.
But then again, he also had a good coach too. So that's key too. He had Andy Reid. So
yeah. We got to shout out though. They showed a possible blueprint to beat Kansas City. Keep them off the field.
Well, isn't that what Tampa did in the Super Bowl?
Dominate the play clock. Keep them off the field as much as possible. And the honey badge, I'm sorry, he doesn't like that anymore. Mr. Matthew, he came back strong.
Wow.
Now the pick six, the receiver slipped. But he played a strong game, so shout out to that.
Yeah.
All right, this one's for my man BJ and Big Ed.
Look, I'm not a Steeler apologist. I'm a Steeler fan, but as you guys know,
you shoot it straight.
If I see something wrong, I'm gonna tell you.
Funk it up. Go ahead. Funk it
up. Pittsburgh is in deep doo-doo.
Funk it up. Tell the truth.
The reason they are is, first of all, they have four on their offensive side. They start 4 rookies. Their tight end, center, left tackle, and tailback are rookies. That's a problem, right? That right there is a problem. And the people that they have starting, as far as their offensive line, rookie or not, like you say, J3, they getting paid. They not performing because they can't run block to save their lives. I might try out. but and then on the defensive side, it's the same old thing. Look, Pittsburgh decided a long time ago that they're going to live and die with their defense. Coach Mike Tomlin has even said it. Their starting middle linebacker, groin out. Their the highest paid defensive player in the league, groin out. Their starting left defensive end, he hasn't even played one snap in the preseason or regular season, so he's out. Joe Hayden, great cornerback, getting up there in age, groin, he's out. So they just have a lot of injuries right now, and there's no hope. There's no hope in sight. You're limited with your roster. It's just what that's what they are. They're probably gonna, if they get lucky as far as attrition, if they can stay relatively healthy or get healthy, I still think they can win the division. But it's a 17 game season. A lot of things are going to happen. But right now they're in trouble because their offense is atrocious.
So let me ask you something, Ed. So,
and their starting receiver just got hurt. I forgot, but he did play the whole game.
Let's talk about your quarterback though, because he's seeing more grass than he is end zones. What's going on with that?
I don't think anything is wrong with Ben. I think that he doesn't have the protection he was accustomed to, and I don't think he has receivers that can separate. And Brown, and as crazy as AB was, he said it. When he freaked out was the year he freaked out was Juju.
They gave Juju offensive player of the year for the team.
They gave him the offensive MVP. And he freaked out. And that coincided with that was the end of his guaranteed money in Pittsburgh, because before Watt, Pittsburgh never guaranteed contracts beyond the first year. Never. And Brown freaked out. But he said in his freak out, see, because a lot of times people say you crazy, but if you read in between the lines, everybody ain't crazy who people want to, or the press want to claim to be crazy. And and Brown said, you will see. He said, if he's the number one receiver, trade me and you'll see. You'll find out. Well, now I know that there's nobody on that team that can get separation. The reason they put up with the drops from Deontay Johnson, is because he's the only one that has the quickness and to separate and get open, but he can't catch.
What about Claypool?
He's a jump over you type of player. He doesn't get a lot of separation.
Yeah,
he out physical his DBs.
And see, you say, well, there's been receivers in the past that was their game, but they can run routes. T.O., Michael Irvin, them big body, Keenan Allen out in L.A. Monster. These guys are master route runners, so they can use they do have a physical game and not necessarily speed game, but except for T.O., but they can run routes. And Claypool, he's still developing. Developing.
What about Ebron? I haven't heard.
He can't catch. I'm glad he can't catch. I told you he's on his third team right now.
Right.
He
hanging on in the league.
He can't catch. He can't block. So that's why they drafted the kid out of Penn State, who will be good. It's just that he got to learn.
To J3's point, I just want to revisit Ben. Like
I'm telling you, I don't believe, and I'm not sticking up for Ben, but I honestly think that he can still play the game at a good level enough to win, but he has no receivers. He has no receivers that can.
And when your offensive line can't run block a little,
right?
I mean, they're making an All-American look like he can't run.
Right.
Yeah. And we all know that ain't true.
Right.
Well, you see flashes. Najee has flashes when, it is the NFL. Eventually, every blue moon, they'll open a hole up. But it's hard to watch. Yeah. BJ can attest to this. If he's watching the games like I am,
he's chiming in.
Their offensive line is atrocious.
He's chiming in. Trust me.
All right, well, let's move on to the comeback of the day. Seattle Seahawks were up 21-3 and putting it on Tennessee Titans. And then Tennessee went into halftime. I think they had closed it down to 21-6. And they decided to do something that they didn't do week one. Give it to the man that keeps getting you into the playoffs when you give him the ball.
Man.
And give Mr. King Henry the ball and let him do what he do.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand it. I just don't understand it.
Well, the coach always says he's concerned about the amount of hits he's taking and accumulation of carries. So he's trying to, work it through the season so they can have him fresh for the playoffs. If you keep losing, you ain't going to be in the playoffs.
Right.
And as Ed has been telling people, Tannehill ain't that dude without that big beast putting up big numbers. And Tannehill look real good when the defense is scared. They know they got 6'4", 250 coming downhill that will embarrass you on national TV and have you on a meme looking like,
looking like a little kid out there.
I have to give Mike Vrabel credit, but I actually sympathize with him because he's kind of like, I danged if I do it, I danged if I don't. He got the job because the former coach didn't run Henry. He ran the guy, the reject out of Philly and Dallas. I can't remember his name.
Talking about C.J. Johnson? You talking about Johnson?
No, not Johnson. No. Johnson was gone by then. It was the guy.
Murray? You talking about Murray?
Murray.
LaMarco Murray?
Yeah, DeMarco. You're right. But and that's the reason that coach got fired, because he had a horse sitting in the stall. So Vrabel knows that Tannehill can't ball. Vrabel played for Belichick. He got Super Bowl rings. He knows he can't ball, but yet He knows, like you said, Big Reg, I can't run the guy in the ground now because if I do, I definitely ain't gonna win no games. But you got to win a game every now and then, at least a big game. So
and you got to open up the passing game with the run. I mean, as you can see, as Henry started finding success, Julio Jones started finding success. So hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand. And the young fella has been telling him, just give me the damn ball. I work out and I condition my body enough. I'm different than them other dudes. I'm more AP than a traditional running back. Mm-hmm. Give me the ball. Let me do what I do, and we will all be fine. And he's fine with that. So give that man the ball. He had to deal with this in Alabama until his senior year when Nick finally said, all right, just give him the ball. And he was carrying the ball 30 times a game in Alabama and killing people. He's built for it. His workout regimen is
insane.
I mean, he has people crying that come to try to work out with him. Give him the ball. And they actually realize that, hey, he can actually catch too. You don't have to give him the ball every time where you got to run through the tackles. Give him 5 or 6 passes a game. That's going to be another 40 to 60 yards and possibly a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And Tannehill got the 30 million and he got the 15.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, we know what that's about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We know what that's about.
Extension's coming though.
All right. So let's do some quick hits. Man, if Minnesota didn't have bad luck, I don't know what kind of luck they'd have, but that dude, Kyler Murray, is a beast. Arizona
it's like he's
wins 34-33, but yeah, he looked like he playing a different game than everybody else. With the feet.
But don't forget, it's year 3 for Kyler. And, look, we all know Kyler's history. I don't think he lost a game in high school.
Didn't.
And he dominated, and that's Texas. That ain't no little, that ain't Rhode Island.
Oh, that's football country.
Right. He dominated the big, the Big 12 once he got, settled in at Oklahoma. He's that dude, and they got him some. They do have him. So he does have weapons. Mm-hmm. To Arizona's credit, they built the offensive line. So that AFC's what is that? No, the NFC West.
NFC West is a monster.
Welcome back, AJ Green. My goodness, we hadn't seen you in a minute, but now you caught a TD.
and just think about that. AJ Green is 3rd, 4th option.
3rd or 4th
for the Cardinals now. Yeah, so that NFC West and the AFC West are both beast divisions this year.
I told you about the Raiders, though. I told you.
Yes, you did.
I said, I'm telling you, the Raiders going to shock some people this year.
Yes, you did. Got to shout out the Rams. Your boy Carson, man. The coach was in that game until that dude decided he wasn't going back in. And his backup comes in, immediately throws the interception, game over.
That's what they wanted. They actively wanted. They wanted Carson Wentz. Frank Reich. He going to rebuild.
Rehab project. They thought they could change him.
Man, Carson been that way since college. It's not like this is new. And apparently he don't like competition because he cried his way out of Philly. So
we got to give them boys some credit. Dallas changed what they did from week 1 to week 2. They put the ball in the hands of the running backs, beat the Chargers, which is a good team, 2017. But my question to you, who's really the best back in Dallas? I know who got the $90 million contract.
Pollard.
But Pollard is outperforming Zeke.
Yeah, he is.
Zeke made a very shrewd and smart business move. When Cowboys needed some extra cap room, he allowed them to convert salary into signing bonus so they could spread it out. And I think that's going to keep Ezekiel Elliott on the Cowboys roster definitely through 2022 because his dead cap hit will be $30 million next year. But it might even keep him to 2023. because he's got an almost $17 million cap hit then, still $12 million in dead money. So if it wasn't for them big cap numbers, Zeke would be looking at possibly finding a new residence.
Would you take him?
No.
Exactly.
Zeke looks seem like he like I don't know this for a fact to be fact, but it seemed like he like an old nightlife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Pollard looked like the number one back there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I know Jerry's happy. It's a good problem to have. You got two good running backs.
No, he's not happy because he was forced his hand was forced to pay
Zeke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
So
now he in a catch-22
yeah.
because they in salary cap hell, and they just keep playing with money, trying to push it off, which just makes it worse. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. Of the next few games, which game surprised you? The Bills pounding Miami 35-0, New England beating the Jets 25-6, or the Texans actually keeping it close with the Browns, and we're in this game until Tyrod Taylor pulled his hamstring.
Bills Miami.
I would say New England Jets. I mean, for the fact that like Belichick basically said, "Let me remind you who I am and who we are." I mean,
the Jets, man.
It doesn't matter. You don't. It doesn't.
Howard Bison could have reminded the Jets.
You can't help who you play. You can't help who you play, and I mean
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Then you just had to lay the smack down on whoever was in your way, and that's what the Patriots did.
I just think that the Bills in Miami was supposed to be like a showcase game. I mean, I was completely dumbfounded. I would have never guessed that score, even though Tua went out, and they all been crying and getting on him that he can't play the game. Well, when he was out, y'all didn't score no points. I mean, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that was a big letdown on Miami's behalf.
I feel you. Some games that, I mean, everybody knew Tampa Bay was going to blow out the Falcons, so that happened.
The Falcons.
49ers beat the Eagles in a low-scoring game. 49ers got, like we said earlier, issues with their running backs and things, so that's going to be a work in progress. And the Eagles with their new staff. The Bears beat the Bengals. I thought the Bengals might have had a chance with that, but they still are the Bengals. So
Burrow is one to keep an eye out for. He's playing pretty good.
What about the Saints losing?
Ooh, Jameis looking bad.
Carolina is legit. They used their whole draft last year and drafted nothing but defensive players, and they let them young boys play and take their lumps last year. Now they balling. And they got Christian McCaffrey back. McCaffrey's put up 400 yards of all-purpose yardage in 2 games.
He that dude. He's that dude.
And all Sam Darnold got to do is don't mess it up.
He's that dude.
So. And he's not messing it up right now.
He is that dude.
They're holding out hope for Jameis.
And then your boy, Aaron, I mean, he wanted to make a big deal about them beating the Lions. I mean, really?
Next.
Y'all were losing in the first half. Don't act like y'all was just killing them.
That actually was a good game.
Did you see how smug and chill he was at the press conference? He even had the nerve to wink like he was Mr. McCool.
Yeah. Yeah, he's funny. He's funny. That's going to be an interesting watch just to see that team is either going to get back on a roll or I could see them imploding and ended up like 9-7. So we will see. So this week coming up, you got some interesting games to look forward to. Thursday night game, I'm going to give y'all a suggestion. Just keep your eye out on the Thursday night game. But the WNBA playoffs actually start Thursday. I think you're going to get better games with that than watching the Panthers at the Texans.
But the Mystics ain't in it.
I hear you, but we got to support the WNBA.
Yeah, we got to support them.
And the first 2 rounds of the WNBA are one and done. It's like the NCAA tournament. So it's one, you win and you stay, you lose, you go home. So got to love that. Sunday, got some good ones. Washington at the Bills, 1:00.
That is good. Okay.
We about to find out about that defense.
Yeah, Chargers at Chiefs, 1:00.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if Jameis can bounce back. Saints go visit Foxborough, and he got to deal with Bill Belichick and that defense. So that's going to be a tough one. Another 1 o'clock game. Can the Bengals beat your Steelers here?
That would be something.
I can't even.
go,
I can't. I
Burrow.
was getting ready to say,
It's an opportunity.
Burrow
Let's
to
see-
chase.
Right. Let's see what he's gonna do.
yeah, but Burrow, he been throwing picks so far this year, so we'll see.
He's still adjusting.
Yeah,
The Raiders, I think, are going to go 3-0. They got the Dolphins coming back into Vegas.
Yeah, that should be a game.
Bucks at Rams. The game
That's
of the
the
week.
one.
Game of the week.
Yes.
4 o'clock, Fox.
Worth
Set your
watching.
DVRs. If you can't watch it live, I will be in front of my TV watching that live. And I'll be keeping an eye out on the Seahawks and the Vikings because the Seahawks allow teams to hang around. Maybe your boy Kirk Cousins can, pull off a victory he ain't supposed to pull
Over
off.
Russell? Over Russell?
I don't know. Don't know.
Mm-mm.
And then your Sunday night nightcap, Packers visit 49ers.
Well,
Now you get to put your chest out.
Nah,
Rogers, you go
Packers
in the
won't speak
49ers
the
and do some stuff. You can poke your chest out a little bit.
No, because the last 2 years when they've played the Packers in prime time or it were in evertime, the Packers have got destroyed, absolutely destroyed by the 49ers. Destroyed.
I hear you. Yeah, they don't like physical teams, and that's one thing San Francisco is. And then we ended Monday night with an NFC blast.
What's
Eagles
up,
at the Cowboys.
my bro? What's up, bro?
That's gonna be a head banging clash
NFC
right there.
East. NFC East.
So got some good football. All right, fellas. Another good week. Some great football. As I said, folks, WNBA playoffs start Thursday. Check them out. Get some good games. But it's time for our final post so we can get up out of here. J3, what you got for me?
Yeah, so you all know I'm a bowling fan, and I also bowl myself. Want to give a shout out to Big Tree, who almost threw a 300 on Friday, shot a 298. And I want to give a shout out to Debo, who shot a 297 on Friday as well.
Ooh.
Oh, they rolling up there.
Yeah.
They rolling. All right, Sense, you up, brother.
I just want to give some things I'm looking out for. I'm looking forward to, rather. I just saw that the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight was set for October 9th.
Oh,
So, yeah, it's about to go down. So it was entertaining the last fight. So I'm looking forward to see what this one's going to do. And also shout out to JJ Redick, who announced his retirement today after 15 years.
15 years.
I missed that one.
Good career. Good career. Ed, what you got for me?
Well, I just saw my brother said hi, so I'm gonna say hi to my brother Mark Williams. What's up, bro? He's out there in the Bay Area.
All right.
Tuning in tonight. Also, but I'm going to watch the Rams. I'm looking forward to that Rams game, Tampa Bay game. But I really want to just take time to have everybody say a prayer, whatever you believe, however that looks to you, to the Haitians down on the border. We pray for their safety and hope they're all right.
Excellent point.
I'll leave it at that.
Excellent point. I've got a couple of things that caught my attention I want to bring everybody's attention to. This Saturday, UFC 266. You got 2 title fights. You got Alexander Volkanovski defending his featherweight title against Brian Ortega. That's going to be a bomb burner. Co-main event, you got the nastiest female in MMA, Miss Valentina Shevchenko, defending her flyweight title against Lauren Murphy. And the return of the original bad boy Diaz, Nick Diaz, the older brother, comes back. And he's going to fight Robbie Lawler in a rematch that should have happened like 12 years ago. They finally put them back in the ring. So, and since you was on my wavelength too, combat sports, boxing, from this weekend through December, boxing's going to be on fire. We got a bunch of
Mhm.
title fights. Let's just knock on wood that they all actually happen this time. But it's starting this weekend with Anthony Joshua defending his multiple heavyweight championships against Alexander Usyk. And for y'all who don't follow fighting, Usyk was the unified cruiserweight champion. He had all the belts of cruiserweight, moved up to heavyweight, slowly added the extra pounds. This is not going to be an easy fight. And we all know Joshua went to sleep once.
Mm-hmm.
This dude can fight and can hit. So this is going to be a good one. This is going to be on it's on the DAZN. They're fighting over in England, so it's probably going to happen afternoon our time. And then you can catch the UFC pay-per-view at 10 p.m. on ESPN pay-per-view. So for you combat sports fans, it starts today, and then boxing almost every week. We're going to have a good title fight week in, week out. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, folks. It's been another week. As always, we thank you for your time. We thank you for the opportunity for you tuning in and listening to us, give you our opinions and positions on different topics in sports. We're here each and every Tuesday at 7 p.m. for the live show. You can catch us on Positions on Sports Talk Show, our YouTube channel. You can catch us on Facebook. We also stream this live via Twitch. So you have 3 options to catch us live. And if you can't catch us live, you can go to any podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, however you do your podcast, just put in Positions on Sports Talk Show. You can find us there. We look forward to seeing you. If you visit, please like and subscribe. The subscription's free. It doesn't cost you anything. We greatly appreciate it. Tune in Thursday, 7 p.m. for our fantasy football show, so you can get your fantasy football team set up for this week, especially if you got anybody going in the Thursday night game. So definitely want you to tune in that. And then we'll be back for the regular show next Tuesday at 7 p.m. As always, we appreciate your time. Please be safe. Look out for each other. We'll see you next week. Peace.
See ya.